Okay, so finding a comfortable seat, legs crossed, legs straight, doesn't matter a bit what you decide to do as long as it supports your body, maybe blocks under your knees or your blanket under your knees. And then if you wish to close your eyes, of course, it helps us turn our attention more easily inward. If that's not ideal this morning, you might let your focus go. You're not really looking at anything in particular. There's an opportunity to soften your shoulders or soften your face. Allow that to happen. And of course, notice the breath. Just notice your inhale, your exhale. We're going to start this morning with just a short meditation practice. The acronym for the practice is called RAIN, R-A-I-N, and quite fitting for this day where it is raining. It's a little chilly, kind of cloudy and dark. We begin the meditation by just checking in with ourselves, recognizing where we're at this morning and how we're doing. You might recognize physically how you're doing, or emotionally, energetically. And for most of us, when we check in this way, there is a struggle of some sort that we recognize. Recognizing where and how we are, what we might be struggling with. We then want to investigate it, almost as though we're asking ourselves, what is that struggle? What does it feel like? Where does it feel? If we've been offended by a friend, where in your body do you feel that offense? What does that offense make you think? Maybe your energy is low this morning, and so it's just an investigation of where in your body do you feel that lack of energy? What are your thoughts about that or beliefs about that lack of energy? And investigating, we also ask ourselves, what's the worst or the hardest part about this struggle? Why is it so difficult? As you investigate, remember your breath. Remember the softness of your shoulders and your face, maybe even your pelvic floor. When you've identified why this struggle is so challenging, there's this other part of you that then wonders if you could accept it. Could you allow this struggle to just kind of be there? Maybe you imagine that you can breathe into it. Or if you feel it in your body, you can just let it be there. Even relax into it. Seems like being alive, whether we're human or we're an animal or a plant, it all comes with challenges. Being alive is certainly not easy. But when we resist those challenges, that's when we create that suffering. And so rather than resisting, we're seeing what would happen if we allowed that challenge to just, it's to be there. As it's there, and you feel it perhaps in the body, you feel it in the mind. Ask yourself if there's anything that you could do for yourself, say for yourself, that might nurture your being this morning. Almost as though within that challenge, there's a way to just come in and provide yourself a bit of encouragement or love. Just a bit of nurture or nourishment. This practice of recognizing, allowing, investigating, and nurturing, RAIN. This practice of being with ourselves in whatever we're experiencing. With your next exhale, you'll slowly let the chin tuck down to the chest. Allow there to be length to the back of the neck. Maybe your shoulders relax down even more. And you feel the spine, not just in the neck, but down through the shoulders, down to the mid and lower back. And if you can't actually feel it, imagine it. See it in your mind's eye. The spine of yours that it houses much of your central nervous system, all the wiring in this body that keeps you alive. When you're ready to find some movement, you'll very gently roll the right ear up and over towards the right shoulder. And an exhale can roll your chin back to your chest. And then you'll go to the left, just real slow, real deliberate from side to side. If your head feels as though the neck would appreciate full circles, definitely take a couple circles, one direction and then the other. Eventually making your way back so that your head is at center, your chin is just parallel with the earth. If your core is not engaged, you'll engage the core. And lift through the crown of the head. Feel that length. And feel the breath. And feel the pelvic floor. Imagine your spine then from the base of it, like clear down at the pelvic floor. Imagine that you can see that spine, even vertebra by vertebra, all the way up to where it connects to the base of the head. Maybe even visualize then the back of the head or the front, clear up to the crown of the head. With your next inhale, you're gonna lift the pelvic floor, engage those muscles like you're squeezing, and let that squeeze move up through the pelvic floor like you're moving up through the spine, all the way up, like through mid-spine, upper spine, all the way up. Then your exhale will relax everything. Inhale, lift and engage the pelvic floor. Let it run all the way up like your abs engage. Everything squeezes and it like pushes that energy up through your spine, all the way up like it's gonna come out the crown of your head. Your exhale relaxes everything. Inhaling, engage, squeeze like that energy is moving up through the spine. Exhaling to relax. One more breath, inhaling. And exhaling, let everything relax. Opening your eyes if you need to. Let's kick our knees or our feet to the side so we can roll around and meet on all fours. Once on all fours, I would definitely invite you to close the eyes again, just so that you can stay connected with this body, this mind of yours, aware of your own energy. Spread your fingers, feel that they're spread. Feel that they grip the mat. Feel that the palm of your hand is almost like a suction cup gripping that mat. Then feel your knees under your hips. Maybe your toes are tucked or maybe they're not, it doesn't matter. Note that your core engages here to support your lower back. And when you're ready, you'll take a breath in. Then use your exhale to tuck your tailbone, tuck your chin, let your back arch towards your ceiling. Inhaling, your tailbone will lift and your throat and collarbone will open for your cow. Exhale, come back to cat. Inhaling forward to cow. And back and forth real slow, real deliberate, and not just the movement, but in the way that you're paying attention to your movement. Do one more breath of cat-cow. It'll be an inhale that brings you back to neutral. And in neutral, your eyes can stay closed. Your core is still engaged. You'll draw with your core your right hip towards your right shoulder. Use your exhale to come back to the middle. Inhale, left hip and left shoulder pull towards each other. Exhale to the middle. Inhale, right hip, right shoulder. Exhale to the middle and to the left and to the middle. One more time on each side. It's connected with your breath, of course. You'll exhale to come back to the middle. Take an inhale at tabletop. Spread your knees if you need, but let the exhale send your butt back towards your heels, back to child's pose. Down here in child's pose, it might be that your hips are, maybe they're tender or they're feeling tight. Depends on your body and what it needs. Sometimes we just notice that and try to relax into it. Other times we shift the weight a little from side to side in our hips, like we're allowing it to be there and we're just kind of sinking and moving into it. Maybe your arms and your shoulders relax so that your neck and your back body can relax. This time of gentle yoga where we do work some, for sure, on strength and stability. But we also really practice this kindness towards not just the body, but the mind. If your arms are wrapped around your legs, bring them forward. We'll all inhale to carry ourselves to tabletop. If your knees aren't under your hips, just get them back. And let's extend our right leg back behind us and up so it's level with our hip. Toes pull towards our shin, our core engaged. Maybe our eyes close and we breathe. Of course, this is part of the work in gentle yoga. This is our core. We're strengthening our core here. Maybe we pull that left arm up and out alongside our ear. When your eyes are closed, it's even trickier. Good. If your arm is up, bring your hand back to the mat. Your leg is still up. Let's see what happens if we try to pull that leg out and over to the side, like right out to the right. Your hips are trying to stay level. And again, this is the strengthen part. This takes a ton of core strength, of hip strength. Good. Bring your leg back behind you. It's still level with your hip. With your next inhale, you're going to bend the knee, bring the knee towards the chest, tuck the chin, arch the back. Then exhale, lengthen your spine, or your leg, and your spine. Inhale, bring the knee in, arch the back. Exhale, lengthen. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, lengthen. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, lengthen, just keep it up. You're still level with your hip. Toes towards your shin, shoulders maybe roll back. This is a lot too on the shoulders, even on the wrists. Notice that. Nice. Bring your toes to the ground then. Your legs still straight. Push back through your heel. Breath in. Breath out. We'll bend that knee. Bring the knee under our hip. Nice. We'll send the butt back towards the heels. Come back to your child's pose. Let your wrists roll or rest. Again, you could choose to be in a very passive child's pose where your shoulders are soft, where the back body gets to totally relax. And if arms are wrapped around the legs, let's bring them forward. We'll use an inhale to get to tabletop. Knees under our hips again, hands under our shoulders. With an inhale, left leg is up, straight out back behind us, toes towards our shin. Our core is engaged. I know you know this, like your belly is what's holding your leg up. Maybe your eyes close again. If you want, the right arm extends out alongside the ears, so it's that spinal balance. Reach back through your heel, reach forward through the tips of your fingers. If arm is up, bring it down. And let's bring that left leg out and over to the left. We're trying to keep it level with our hip. Core's doing your work. Nice job. Take a breath in. Use your exhale, leg back behind you, level with your hip. Nice job. We're going to bend the knee with an inhale. Bring it in towards the chest. Tuck the tailbone, the chin. Exhale, extend it. Inhaling, bring it in, tuck. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, extend. You're just level out there with the hip. I don't remember if we did anything else. I think we just brought the heel down or the toes down, pressed the heel back. Breath in, breath out. We'll bend the knee, bring it under our hips. Take a breath in, use your exhale, come back to child's pose again. Feel the muscles across the back of your hips have to lengthen to let you hinge here. And not only are they lengthening, but then there's this purposeful attempt for you to soften the pelvic floor, soften your butt, soften your belly. Good. If your arms are around the legs, they'll come forward. Your inhale will bring you to tabletop. Let's bring our mat, fold it, bring it so that you've got extra cushion for your knees. Your knees will come right over your hips, and then you'll bring your torso up. Nice. Once our torso is up, we just want to really make sure that our hips are right over top of our knees, like we were standing basically. The shoulders rolled back, belly's in. Roll those shoulders back again, like get them down away from your ears. And then let's bring our right leg out to the side. Our toes pointed straight forward, and it's like you're gonna dig the outside edge of your right foot into your mat. And then like level your whole body back off like you're standing again. If you wish, left arm can lift up alongside the ear. And then it's a gentle bend of our spine towards the right. So it's like a lateral bend. We're creating a C. Your right hand might slide down that right thigh or outside of the leg. As you do this, attend to it's your left side body, but all the way down, like into that left hip. All of that's completely connected. Nice. Check out the neck. It's in a neutral, fairly comfortable position. Next inhale, we'll bring our torso up. Let that left hand come all the way down and plant it just down alongside like your left knee. And then your right hand is already on your hip. Roll that right shoulder back and down, like your shoulders are stacking. Maybe your right arm lifts to the ceiling. Maybe even falls alongside the ear. So now you've got the length on that right side. And I like to spin my hand so my thumb is up. You definitely don't have to do that. It's just like a little extra length in that side body because it turns the rotation of the arm bone. Good. If you've got your right arm alongside your ear, lift it to the ceiling. Bring it to the hip. Your core is engaged. It'll lift your torso back up. And again, we're bringing left arm up alongside the ear and finding that same lateral bend that we had to the right. And when we want to roll the shoulders back, like we're getting our chest to still point forward. It's nice and open, that heart center, the place from which much of our emotions in this human life really come, particularly love, even the opposite, like the hurt. Good. Bring your torso up, your arm down. This time we're gonna hinge at those hips like we're coming down to all fours. Hands right under our shoulders. And then let's do a little bit of like cat-cow with the spine. And so you might not have a ton of mobility, but it's as though you're gonna tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin, arch the back. And then lift the tailbone, open the throat, the collarbone, like you're moving into cow. And just a couple times back and forth. We'll meet in a neutral spine, that outside edge of the right foot still digging into the earth. Push your thigh bones back in your hip sockets. Nice. Then you're gonna shift all your weight to your left hand so you can bring the right hand to the hip. Twist and open your heart to the right. Your shoulders are stacked, of course. If you wanna lift that right arm up, go for it. You could even turn the gaze towards the ceiling or towards that right hand. But feel the thigh bones still pushing back in your hip sockets. Good. If top arm is up, bring it to the hip. Untwist your torso so you can bring everything back to all fours, knee back under the hip, and you're back in all fours. Awesome. Left leg is straight out to the side. We're bringing our torso up. I guess you could have gone torso up, then leg out, however. But once you're there, you're making sure that your hips or over what your knees would be. Outside edge of your left foot is rooted to the ground. The shoulders are back and down. The belly's in. When you're ready, right arm is up with an inhale. Exhale to allow your spine to bend to the left. And again, you might like square the shoulders with the front of your mat so that your heart, it maintains that openness. Even when it's hurt, our heart, we're allowing it to be open, choosing for it to be open, even though it's hurt sometimes. Good, next inhale, bring your torso up. Your exhale is gonna bring your right hand down. It's like right in line with that knee. And your left hand probably just naturally went right to your hip. You can either stay there or you can lift left arm up, drop it alongside the ear. Again, I like to send my thumb to the ceiling just to change that rotation of the arm bone. Outside edge of our left foot connects with our floor. Nice big breaths. Make sure your neck is neutral-ish. Inhaling, top arm to the ceiling. Exhale, hand to the hip. Inhale, torso, back up. Swell, you're hinging at the hips. Bringing your hands down like you're in all fours. And then a bit of cat-cowish movement here where you tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin, arch the back. And then lift the tailbone, open the throat, the collarbone. Just back and forth a couple times. We meet at neutral with the spine, pushing those thigh bones back in the hip sockets. It's like you're broadening. If you imagined, this is like overshare, I guess, but if you imagine the back of your butt, it's like you're broadening that whole thing by pushing your thigh bones back in the hip sockets. Right hand stays planted. Left hand to the hip, twisting, shoulders stack. So you're twisting to the left. Maybe you're bringing that right arm or the left arm to the ceiling or the gaze to the ceiling. Your thigh bones still push back. If your arm is to the ceiling, bring it back to the hip. Unstack your hips, your shoulders. Everything's moving back to all fours, so knees under the hips. Once your knees are under the hips, let's take circles with the hips. And it doesn't matter whether you're going clockwise, counterclockwise. You might start your circle small, but eventually we want to get to where we're taking some fairly large circles with those hips. Those thigh bones are getting to move all around in there. Good, switch the direction of your circles. Meeting back at all fours then. We're gonna shift our weight back so we're sitting on our knees. This is that hero pose. And maybe you can see if you can move your heels towards each other, almost like you're zipping them up or squeezing them together. Most of us, they kind of like flop out and open. But let's see if we can bring them together, like strengthening its muscles in our ankles. Yeah, it's way different when we're trying to hold them together. Good, and flip your mat then. So you've got your mat on your earth. We're gonna bring our hands down in front of our knees, lift the butt up, tuck the toes, and we're gonna do that one where we just inhale to get the butt up, like into forward fold, and then our exhale is gonna bring us back down to a squat. So roll to those feet, And mine are just my tippy toes. Some of you might be able to connect your heels to the ground. If so, awesome. With an inhale, let your butt lift up towards the ceiling, legs straightish, bending them as much as needed for your hamstrings. Exhale, bend the knees, sink back to your squat. Inhale, butt up, it's forward fold. Exhale, butt down. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling to lower. Nice job. Keep going. Your breath, your pace. You're more than welcome to hang out either place for a breath or two. Next time you're up, allow it to be a forward fold where you stay. Relax the shoulders, the arms, the neck. Of course, your knees are bent enough that your belly is resting on your thighs. That's to protect, it's to protect your hamstrings, but ultimately it's to protect that lower back. Nice big breaths. Good, you'll bend the right knee a ton, like even come to the toes, and try to straighten a little bit more the left leg. Good, then trade it. So right heel is down, left heel is up, knee is bent, and you're trying to straighten-ish that right leg. Back to your forward fold, both heels down. Let's walk our hands forward and find our downward dog. Your feet might need to step back as well, depending on where you're at the mat. The hips are high and back. Get those shoulders away from the ears. Maybe the feet need to pedal. Good, you're gonna walk your hands back to your feet, then come right back to your forward fold. Chin tucked in. Then bend those knees, come back down to your squat. When you're in your squat, let your knees go out and apart, your hands, your arms in the middle. Nice, and then it's like we're sending our butt back towards the ground behind us and letting our hands walk forward, really as much as they wish. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. Your belly is in. Awesome. We're gonna come down then with the knees. So maybe your hands walk forward so you can just roll those knees to the earth. Untuck the toes. Send your butt back to your heels, your arms forward so you can come down into a wide-legged child's pose. And all those muscles across the back of the hips, soften, soften, soften. Soften the pelvic floor, soften the belly. If your arms aren't forward, you're gonna bring them forward so we can all come on up to tabletop. Knees under our hips. Let's crawl forward on our mats. Swing the feet to the side or roll over the knees. We're coming to the butt, but then we're coming all the way down to the floor. We're gonna keep working with these hips. All the way onto the back, knees, we'll meet with knees bent to start with, just so we can get our lower back a bit of relief. So all the way down. Knees bent. Wiggle the shoulders around. Make sure that they're soft. And before we go anywhere, let's rotate the pelvis. So it's almost like cat-cow again, where we're just isolating the pelvis by tucking the tailbone and then rotating the tailbone like it's pushing back and down into the mat. Tailbone tucks between the legs, and then it rocks back a couple times. Swell, and bring that right ankle up to the left knee. Maybe right hand to that right thigh, and you can push that leg away from your body. I like to rock here a little bit, let the ground push into those muscles across the back of my hips. Another option here is to draw that left knee up and in. Hands might wrap around the thigh, and you're pulling the knee in while you're pushing the right knee away. Into our like more traditional figure four. Nice. If you've got your left leg up, you're going to bring left foot back to the ground. Keep your right ankle on your left knee for a sec. You're going to let the knees, both of them, drop over towards the right. Shoulders soft. Inhaling to bring your knees to the middle. Right knee in towards your torso, hands to that knee, give it a hug in. If we want, we can straighten the left leg, and we're just in wind reliever is where we're at. So you're gonna keep your right hand on your right knee. Your left hand might move down to your left hip just to keep it grounded. Move your knee away from your body a little bit, your bent knee, but then let it drop out and over towards the side. And you might need to bend your left knee again if you have it straight. But it's like we do with our straps, but we don't have straps. And I moved my hand like over the top of my knee, and it's almost holding like the shin, just to make it a little easier. Good, you'll let that right knee come to the middle. This time you're gonna grab it with your left hand, and your right hand is gonna drop. Your hips are gonna roll so that your knee can move across the body and drop down towards the ground somewhere over there on the left side. Next inhale, come back to your back body. Both your hands to that right knee, give it a hug in. Next exhale, the foot will come to the earth and both knees will bend. And you'll do a little bit of rotation of the pelvis. So tailbone tucks, tailbone rocks back and down into your mat. And then left ankle to the right knee. Maybe a left hand to that left thigh, and you push away the left thigh. Maybe you choose to rock here. Maybe you move to the more like traditional figure four, where you lift that right knee, wrap your hands around the thigh. Either place where allowing the back of the hips as your piriformis. It wraps right around the back of your hips. We're letting it both lengthen, and if we're rocking, be massaged? What are the times if we're running? Even if we're hiking, we're using our hip flexors to lift our legs. And when those hip flexors get tight, it pulls on the muscles across the back of your hips. And then they're tight. If you've got your right leg up in traditional figure four, bring it back down. You're keeping your ankle on your knee, but you're letting both of those knees drop to the left. Both your shoulders stay connected to the ground. Inhaling everything back to the middle. You'll draw that left knee in towards the torso, hands to the knee, give it a hug in. Keeping left hand connected, right hand either to the ground or to that right hip. You're letting your left knee drop out and over to the side. And maybe you've got your left leg straight, maybe you've got it bent. But that leg is just dropping out and over like it would if we had a strap and it was straight. But instead it's bent and you've got your hand holding your knee as your strap. Nice, bring your knee to the middle. You're switching hands, so right hand to the knee, left hand down, let your hips roll so that knee can cross over the body, fall down towards the ground somewhere over there on the right. Both your shoulders stay connected. Next inhale, bring yourself back to the middle. Both hands to that knee to give it a hug in. We'll bring both knees in, both hands to both knees, hugging, maybe rocking side to side. Maybe circling the knees so that the entire back of the hips, the pelvis, get the benefit of the earth massaging them. If you decide to circle, make sure you circle both ways. Eventually dropping the knees down, the feet to the earth. About hip distance apart, let's let our knees fall towards the right. Let your top knee be your leader. Your foot stays on the ground, but your top knee is moving up towards the middle, over and down to the left. Bottom knee catches, and both land to the left. Top knee is your lead. Legs open for a sec. They both land to the right. And side to side several times. If there's something else as far as a release that you know it's your hips and your lower back really appreciate, you can definitely choose that instead of this. And the glory of yoga is it's your practice. And nobody knows your body like you know your body. Nobody knows your heart or your intentions like you know your heart. Even when somebody or everybody else is doing something different, your job is to listen to your own self, to trust that your body is going to direct you, and to trust that your heart it directs you as well. When you feel like those hips and those lower backs are okay enough, just stretch the legs out. Both legs will lengthen. And the feet will roll out and open. And you'll find this final position here of corpse pose or shavasana. Your face will soften. Of course, eyes are closed. And as you connect with breath here, you'll use the exhale to soften and relax the body. If your mind starts moving, you can either choose to just watch it. Remember our practice of observing or witnessing our mind, our thoughts, and our feelings. Or you might choose to redirect it and stay connected with breath, stay connected with body. Soft faces, soft shoulders, soft bellies, soft backs, soft hips, and a soft butt. Soft thighs, soft legs, There's a little poem by Victoria Erickson that I'd like to share this morning. And it just says, soften. Soften into the world around you. Allow the air and the earth to heal, revive, rejuvenate, reawaken. Remember how wildness always holds you close, strong, consistent, slow, and steady. Rocks you in scents and sights and rhythms. Is always there to ground us. Is always soothing and knowing and simple and ready. Whatever we might struggle with, we recognize, we allow, or soften into it. We investigate it. And then we nurture ourselves, or allow ourselves to be nurtured by the earth, by others. When you're ready to find a bit of movement, you'll very gently let your fingers begin to wiggle. Let your toes wiggle too. Maybe ankles and wrists then can roll, or your head can move a bit side to side. If your body needs one less stretch, you could inhale the arms to the ceiling, exhale them down alongside your ears, and then just stretch with an inhale and exhale to re-relax. Bending your knees, then you'll very mindfully shift the weight in your hips so that your knees can fall one way or another and you can roll to a side. When you're ready to come back to your seat, your hands, your arms will push you back up. Once up, you'll bring palms together. Tuck the thumbs at the heart, perhaps bow the chin towards the chest, and check in again. Notice how you're doing. Know that this practice of rain, very often we can do over and over and over in one day. Always aware of how we're doing, always committed to nourishing our own being, nourishing, nurturing. And then recognizing this shared space where our presence really works to nurture each other. Grateful for this time. I'm grateful for each one of you. Namaste.